obviously started well, but you're not going to win games if you concede 4 goals off set pieces. Goals change games. You've got to be good in those moments, and we just weren't today. And we didn't do anything different. We prepared as we normally would. So I think that's probably the most disappointing, is in moments where we could get a little bit of momentum, we gave up things on set pieces that just aren't acceptable, really.
It felt like an uncharacteristic game from Jordan Bug. Some struggles out there. What would you point to there? What was going on?
I don't know. I think maybe the occasion. I don't think so. She doesn't tend to get bothered by the occasion. Maybe the heat. I don't know. But definitely hot out there. But yeah, I think it's an uncharacteristic of her, right? And to be able to say that about an 18, 19-year-old who's so consistent says a lot about the performances that she's put on previously. And she'll bounce back. Yeah.
Jeff?
We saw an awful lot of field coverage with Jordan today. She was back on defense. She was kind of everywhere. Can you speak to her performance? She just seemed like she was kind of relentlessly around the field.
Yeah, I mean, she works really hard. We know this about Jordan. I think one of the things she did brilliantly when she came on against Angel City last week was she really threatened in behind. I thought she did a decent job of that in the first half. And, with her work rate, it was she was always going to tie her, and then obviously to be able to bring Lynn on in replace of her as a decent sub.
Bella?
2 questions for you. Just first of all, the team has had maybe just a couple of the kind of games this season where things just seem off. Maybe the energy seems a little lower, the opposition, the passes aren't connecting. Would you say that was the heat, or do you think there's maybe a common thread between those kinds of games?
No, I don't think there was a common thread. I do think the heat the first thing the heat impacts is your brain. That's what's challenging, and we play a style that you need to be able to use your brain, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. And yeah, you can look at the off passes and all that stuff, but one thing that really for me stands out is we conceded a goal off kickoff. We've just scored to get ourselves 3-2 back in the game, and we concede off the kickoff. That's all mental. That's just mental. And I think they're the things that the heat impacts is sort of your ability to think quick and to be able to solve things quick with your brain.
And then, not saying this is the reason for the defensive struggles, but it is the first game the team has played without Phoebe McClernand all season. Mm-hmm. What do you lose when you don't have Phoebe, and also how is she? Because I believe she was in a boot on the sideline.
She's okay. She'll be. I think she'll be okay for next week. It was just an acute injury that happened on Tuesday. So being in the boots just alleviates any pressure on the foot. But she'll be okay. And yeah, sometimes you don't know what you've got until it's not there. And today I felt like, Phoebe's presence and organisation, we lacked a little bit. So yeah, just highlighted how good she's been for us this year.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Last question, Van.
I just had one more. To end it on a semi-positive note, what worked in the game plan?
I think when we can get Jess and Emery on the ball, we cause them problems. I think Jess is obviously ball for Emery for the goal. And then I don't know who played the ball out to Maddie Curry, but we get the ball out to Maddie Curry, cross, Jess, goal. They're the things that we knew would be we thought would be impactful. And we just didn't do it often enough. Yeah, I always go back to it. You just can't concede 4 goals off set pieces and expect to win any game, no matter who you're playing. You could be playing the U12 team. You're not going to win the game. So I think that's just a very big lesson learnt by us today that hopefully we can solve and come back from.
It seemed like especially the first third of the match was played at a real frantic pace in that there's a lot of pace and it kind of grinded out. Could you comment a little bit about what maybe the conditions were that led to kind of the ebbs and flows of the match?
It was really hot out there. Not only that, what's difficult on turf is it's your feet are on fire. And so obviously that probably played into the momentum parts of the game. And whenever each team could feel like they had a little bit more energy, they probably gained a little bit more momentum, and then that kind of flip-flopped throughout the 90 minutes. But yeah, that's probably why it was a bit more like that.
Can you talk us through your header goal?
Yeah. I mean, it was great play, and then obviously the ball worked itself out wide, which, you know, I feel like we could have done a lot better with today. And, you know, we're very fortunate with some of the people that we have in wide areas, especially, you know, obviously MC here, so when she's out there, Emily when she's out there, you know, you kind of know that the delivery is going to be on point. And so I just kind of made a late run into the box, and thankfully MC saw me. So yeah, and then I just really had to focus on one, trying to get there, and then two, trying to get my head on there, because that's a stretch a little bit, you know. Yeah, it was. and so yeah, and thankfully it went in. But you know, I honestly thought at that point we were really going to step it up a little bit and put our foot down, and you know that was exactly what I thought we were going to do. And then you know we just completely switched off and conceded, you know, arguably one of the worst goals ever. 2 minutes after that, and so we really have to look at how that happened, why that happened, because that is just you know, unacceptable. You can't throw yourself back in, be in a situation, and then throw it all away within 30 seconds. And so we really need to delve deep into the why of that situation.
Can you comment on what you saw?
On the goal?
Yeah.
I was just trying to get on the ball a little bit more. I felt we struggled to get into wide areas, especially in threatening spaces. I feel like our movement along the back line was a little bit slow, so by the time they could switch it, I didn't have the opportunity to do what I wanted to do in the spaces I wanted to lead. But that play was great. I came a little bit lower, and I saw Jess in a free spot, and I just hoped I could hit it to the right spot, and thankfully it did.
That's a great ball.
Thank you.
That's a great ball.
Grant?
So it felt like Darlene, Meza, Menti, and Bug kind of having a rough go of it out there. Obviously, Madison, you're a young player as well, but how much of this can you chalk up to it's just a real tough spot, a rivalry match, it's hot out, like you said, the conditions, the crowd's going crazy. Can you chalk some of this up to just young players having a rough game in a difficult spot?
I think what people really quite don't understand about this game is we can talk about rivalries across the league all you want. It's not like this game. And it's not like this game of Portland either, you know? This is really annoying. Like, no, it's not you, it's just this situation in Portland really needs fix. But I think that, to your point, I would say yes. I would say we're doing great right now, and I think we're in a great spot. And coming into this game was really kind of a situation of, okay, we have a young team, we're learning a lot, but now we're in a different situation, right? Two teams, fierce rivalry, you're in a pressure cooker, you know, not just like literally today, but also figuratively with the crowd, and the intensity is always different in this kind of game, and you have to really feel that and work your way through it, right? Sometimes it'll hit you like a ton of bricks, and then with that experience, you'll slowly gain how to deal with these situations better and better. And so today for us was kind of like that. We said, you know, this is not about anybody else apart from us, and seeing where we are, testing ourselves in this environment with this team that we have now. To your point, it is young, and we are trying to get there, and our team are doing fantastic, and our young players are doing brilliant. This was a different type of game, and I just said to Sammy and Sally now, like, don't think of this, don't let it hit you deep, don't get yourself into a dark hole with this, because you will learn the most from this game, and it will give you the most in terms of for your career in stepping forward. Sometimes you just gotta have these difficult moments, and how you learn from them will set you up to be more successful. And our team will make sure that we do that, because it's okay, you know. These moments are part of life.
Yeah, I mean, as a young player, it's hard to grasp such a big rivalry and all of the history that goes behind it. And I think taking the time to sit with it, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, and you want to make the older players on the team proud. And I think that in turn turns into a lot of pressure. And sometimes the pressure is too much, and sometimes that shows on the field, and sometimes it doesn't. And I think with the heat and the turf and just the way the game played out for us, it is a learning moment. And now, you know, we're a part of the history, and we can feel how much that sucks. And that's the biggest learning tool.
Thank you.
Just kind of moving forward, I saw Laura bring everybody together after the game, and it looked like she was passionately talking. How do you like take what you've learned from this match and apply it to the next Monday's game?
We just go back to the basics now. We just do film, do the work, do the learning, get on the training field. You know, I mean, 3 of the goals were set plays, and then 1 of them was from the kickoff. I mean, they are completely in our control and our fault almost, right? And so, you know, there's kind of that kind of helps a little bit, I think, when you know that this is just us in those moments switching off, losing focus, and we gotta just learn to make sure that we don't do that. So that means we have to focus more even in film on the training field. We are going to do that. And so, you know, the great thing about where we are right now is we have loads of games left. This doesn't need to derail our year. And I know that this group won't let it do that.
Last question will be from Bella.
You mentioned the goals that you conceded, and obviously defense has been a focus of this team all season, been pretty stingy. But can you talk a little bit more about the defensive struggles today? Was it only, just like you mentioned, switching off, or were there sort of maybe other issues, things Portland did well, anything like that?
I think it was a lack of focus on our end and really taking accountability for our jobs, and that shows on set pieces. You're kind of left out, and if you do your job, it shows, and if you don't, it shows. And I think more than what Portland did right, it's just taking accountability for what we can control, and it's all on us. And it's in those moments, like big 5 moments, we turned off today, and that shows. And at the end of the day, on paper, it shows that Portland wanted it more than us, which I don't think is the case, but we need to do the work to see why it showed that way.
And I think to Maddie's point, we came into the game knowing that Portland are strong on set pieces. So, you know, to your point, Bella, is it just Portland or is it us? It's a bit of both, but it wasn't something that we didn't know, right? So Portland this year have been great on set pieces, for and against, you know. I think they've conceded possibly the least and maybe scored one of the most, or at least get the most chances. And so it's not that obviously they're good at it. It's a strength of theirs. But we didn't come into this game not knowing that, you know. And so I'm not discrediting Portland, because you can't be good at that throughout the year and not kind of give them credit for that. But more to Maddie's point, we knew about it. We looked at it. We understood that, and we weren't good enough in those moments today, and that's on us.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Madison.
Thank you, guys.